I hope you're enjoying text for this year and that you're finding the sessions beneficial. So, in this session, I will be editing the Mistral AI code from the session before to wrap it up in a FastAPI application. So, first of all, I'm just going to start with importing FastAPI from and then I will import a new library. As we said, FastAPI, a really cool thing about FastAPI is that it has a built-in data validation feature. So in order to do that, I'm just gonna import a library from Pydantic, import base model. So we're importing base model. Basically, it is the form of the output of the input that I want from my user. So since we're going to be running this application on the UVcorn server, I'm not running it on my terminal, so I will just remove this print statement and I will remove the API key here, inputting the API key from our terminal, and it's going to be a built-in input. And we're going to define a new class to explain the format of my input, that is the request from the user to Mistral, and it would have an API key and the question that the user would ask. So first of all, I'm gonna start with creating this app, this FastAPI instance. And then I'm gonna create a class in which we will define our Mistral request. Call it Mistral request. And here we're just gonna write base model because it will be our base model. So this Mistral's request would take an API key, which is a string, and the question that's entered by the user, which is also a string. So basically these are the attributes of the class, and in order to use these attributes in our function, in our code, we will need to, whenever we have a question in our code, we need to replace it by request.question. So now I will leave this prompt engineering and the context framework, the guardrails function as they are. I won't change anything. Now here I'm going to break this while loop because again, we're not running this function on our terminal. We're using UVcorn as the server. So we will need to use again the HTTP methods in order to get the output that we want. Now, in this session, we're basically creating new questions each time I want to ask Mistral something. So in this session, I'm not going to use the get method. I will be using the post method, which is used to create new information or send new questions each time to Mistral. So I will remove this break here, this part of the code, and I'm gonna define app.post and then define this path, which is /chat. Okay, so whenever this function is this post method is triggered, we're gonna define a new function which is chat with Mistral. That takes as an input argument the request that will be entered by the user. So request, and just like the session before, we defined that we need to use as input argument the request that was entered by the user, and we need to specify, just like before, the type of this request. Now, this request would be the type of a Mistral's request, which we already defined in this class. So this request would have an API key and a question. Okay. So in this code, whenever you see these yellow underlining, which means this value is not defined, so it's not accessible. So in order to make it accessible, I'm just gonna say copy paste request. So it's going to be request dot question. So my code knows that this question is the question, which is the request's attribute that we already defined in the class. Now, I will remove this continue, and we will not be printing, we will be returning. So we return, and then again, JSON format. So I will remove these and then just copy paste them inside of the curly brackets. Again, here, request dot question. So we can access the question that was entered by the user. Again, API request dot API key, and then here request dot question again. And then I'm going to remove this print from here, paste it here. Make sure you have the correct indexation, and then return, and then my output will be in curly brackets again. So I will remove these parentheses. Now I'm going to save my file, Control S on the keyboard. Okay, now I need to run this code. So as you can see, I don't have any errors anymore, so nothing to fix. So I will open my terminal. Okay, make sure that you are in the same directory where you saved your code. And now I'm gonna run this code using the uvicorn main. So I will run this command. It will give me this link. I'm just gonna control click. And then as you can see, I didn't define a root endpoint in this for this code. So I will just access the documentation here. So /docs, and I will try it out. I will try my application. So here you enter your API key. Let's ask, tell me. So tell me about Lebanese culture. As you can see, this is the format of my output here. And then let's ask it something not culture related. So tell me about Python, let's say. Execute here. And then you can see the chatbot would return this error message. So that's it. I hope you guys this session beneficial, and I hope you enjoyed it.